I'm going to share with you one of the most powerful practices I've ever learned, and I've been using it every day for over 11 years to boost my libido, improve my energy levels. It's helped me to attain non-ejaculatory orgasms and a complete ejaculation control. It helps me to balance my nervous system, to calm my mind. It's quite a miraculous practice. And in this video, I'm going to explain why this is such a beneficial practice, how it works, and then I'm going to teach you how you can start doing it right away. You'll have a little guided practice to learn it yourself. Let's get into it. I'm Jonathan White, and I've helped thousands of men from around the world learn to master their sexual energy to create an epic life. Make sure you hit subscribe to stay updated when new content like this drops, and make sure you get my free ejaculation control ebook through the link in the video description so that you can attain legendary sexual stamina. Power standing for sexual potency. Guys, if you were to do one thing, literally if there's just one thing you should do in your life, lifelong, that you would get the most bang for your buck, you get the most benefits from, this is it, my friends. But it's important I explain more about why we do it, because it's gonna seem strange. When I first saw this, I was like, this is kind of weird, because it's a practice that approaches exercise in a very different way than we often do in the modern world. So this is actually a qigong practice known as Zhan, which translates to standing like a tree or pole standing. So the idea is that you hold this fixed posture. You stand in it for an extended period of time. Now you can start with a few minutes, but serious practitioners will practice Zhan for 30 minutes, an hour. For me, I'm often spending about 30 minutes daily holding a Zhan posture. But don't worry, you don't need to start there. So I want to show you an example of what's happening to your body. And of course, this is coming from the viewpoint of energetic cultivation. Qigong, Taoist cultivation, Chinese medicine principles, which is working with qi, life force, your internal energy. This electrical force that's flowing through your body through pathways known as meridians. Okay, so we've got Bob here, all right? And on the left here, Bob, he's having a stressful day. I mean, he's an average man living in the year 2025. He's stressed out. So I've drawn here to kind of signify how his qi is getting a bit, where it's basically becoming concentrated in this body. He's really stuck in his head, so there's all this red, dense energy up in his head. And he also has a lot of emotional tension, negative emotions. He's got some anxiety, he's got some anger over his ex-girlfriend who cheated on him. He's got typical guy issues, all right? So he's got all this congestion in his heart region. His shoulders feel really tense. He often gets headaches. But if you'll notice, and if you're just listening to this, down below, his belly region, his genital region, there's not a whole lot of energy dense here. And especially, you could say this is heat. This is this heat, volatile yang qi, this electrical type of energy. And so ideally, for the human body, you want to have your heat, your hot, warm energy concentrated in the lower body, in the belly. There's a classical saying in qigong where you want to keep your head cool and your belly and your feet warm. So you want your hot qi to sink down and your cool qi to rise up. It's understood in Chinese medicine that the kidney system, which is both the actual kidney organs, but it's also the genitals, the bladder, basically all the fluid systems of your body. Sexual function and sexual health are very much linked into the health of your kidney system, energetically. And the kidneys need to stay warm. They need to have this heat and this qi that's pumping them up and warming them up to feed this vitality. But what happens is when you're stressed out, when you have a lot of tension and a lot of mental activity, that heat rises up from your kidneys. Your adrenals become activated and it rises that heat up into the head and into the chest. You have strong emotions, you have a lot of mental activity, you're worried about things, you're thinking about things. All this energy is running up in your head. So you get this dense energy in the chest and in the head. But in the lower body, it becomes a bit empty and it starts to get cool and your sexual function diminishes. So what we do in Zhan, and I'll get more nuance with it, but essentially, as we stand there, we relax. We physically relax, we mentally relax, and we do a process of what's known as sinking the qi. We sink the qi. You may hear people teaching guided meditations where it's you imagine roots in your feet and you're just breathing in and out from the earth. And that's great. Things like that are helpful, but this is a very physical process of layer by layer, sinking and releasing, melting your body's tension, as well as dropping your mind down low into the body. So this is kind of a visual representation of what it looks like. As you sink everything down, it starts to collect in the lower body. And in this region, which is known as the Dantian, which is an energetic region, that's like the battery and the engine for your energy body, this is where you want your qi to really densify and collect, especially your heat. And as that builds and collects qi. See how it just looks a bit more organized. We got this nice spherical quality to it. And that also overflows into the kidneys, overflows to your sexual organs. This is when you have sexual health, vitality, libido, solid erections. The head, the mind becomes a lot more empty, the emotions become settled, and everything gets dropped into the lower body. So your sexual function becomes greatly improved. And I'll talk more about, and I'll actually guide you through that process of syncing the qi. But I want to talk about the different areas that this standing practice, power standing, Zhan covers, which is what makes it such an incredible practice. A first layer of benefit is the nervous system. Again, when you're in this state of everything's up in your head and your chest, it corresponds to having your sympathetic nervous system on overdrive. You're in fight or flight mode, you're stressed out, you're tense. And on a physiological level, this means that cortisol is being released. Cortisol is inhibiting testosterone. So testosterone lowers, cortisol and estrogen will be at a higher level. Often prolactin will be at a heightened level as well. So Zhan, by simply standing there, breathing properly, we breathe in a very calming way from the belly, we sink everything down. It creates this deep sense of feeling safe, feeling at ease. You start to feel like a tree in the forest. You feel ancient. You feel like you have a deep root. Nothing can move you. You are grounded. You're plugged into the earth. And this balances your nervous system. You get into a parasympathetic state. The next thing is mind balance, the balance of the mind. And of course, all these things are connected. Your mind, your body, your nervous system, your breathing, everything. But at the level of mind, because the mind is very actively engaged in this power standing process, you're not just standing here, if you're just standing there thinking about things, thinking about, well, what am I going to do later? Or what am I going to text back to this girl I'm talking to? You must bring the mind into the body, because where the mind goes, the chi flows. So when the mind is extremely active and thinking about random shit, all your chi is going up in your head, further feeding that mental process, further depleting your sexual vitality. One of the biggest things you are training in this power standing practice is your mind. You're training your mind to not be distracted, to remain within your body, and you're using your mind to release layers of tension and emotional constriction so that you find a sense of ease and balance. And this cultivates your mind to be very sharp, very focused. I personally developed tremendous focus, in my opinion, a well-cultivated mental capacity by training this practice. Before I started training in this, 12 years ago, I had a very difficult time on focusing on one thing. So I developed tremendous focus from this practice. And this relates very much into sexual practice, because when you're in the bedroom, a big part of what's happening, whether you're going to have ejaculation control or cave in to performance anxiety and premature ejaculation, is the quality of your mind. When you have a very anxious, busy, distracted, worried mind, you often have a dysregulated nervous system, and you're going to have a difficult time controlling ejaculation and a difficult time experiencing non-ejaculatory orgasm states. When you have the skill of mental balance, mental focus, and the ability to not get stuck in these thought loops and just have a more present, calm, expansive mind, which this practice trains, then you bring it in the bedroom. That becomes a quality you have when you're having sex, which means great ejaculation control as well. The next point here being body awareness, which just builds upon what I've just said. One of the huge things about, just managing your health, your mind, and definitely in the bedroom, is you have to understand, you have to be aware of what's happening within your body. Like, oh, there's tension starting to build up here. If I allow that to continue to build, it's going to cause me to ejaculate. Or like when you're out in life, you're out in a public environment and like maybe you're at a party or a social get together, and like you really want to have a conversation, like meet people and make friends, meet women, whatever, and be connected to them. But there's this constriction and tension that's making you feel really nervous and self-conscious. So what you learn from Zhan practice, all these contexts, it's the same thing. You learn, oh, this is where I tend to tense up, because there's different postures we hold in Zhan. And some of them, you might hold your arms up here for 5, 10, 15 minutes. Pretty soon you start to be aware of where your tension patterns are and how you can let go of them a bit more so that you can hold this pressure without caving in, so to speak. And so, for example, you start to realize, wow, now I really feel what it feels like to fully let my trapezius muscle go, let my abdominal muscles go, and to breathe smoothly while I'm engaging in some sort of physical context. So going back to the examples I gave, when you're having sex, you realize, oh, I'm really holding a lot more tension here than I need to. If I let that go, oh, now I have control. Now that pleasure can move through my whole body. When you're in a social setting, say, oh, I'm really constricting my diaphragm, my solar plexus, my belly, and it's constricting me, and it's actually cutting me off from feeling an emotional connection to the people around me. And when I relax that, I actually feel a lot more safe to say the things I really want to say, to be more spontaneous, and to feel more present and connected to the people around me. This isn't just like some like mystical practice. Like, yeah, you build some serious chi doing this and maybe you'll develop some Jedi-like abilities, but the very practical layers of engagement, this practice has so many applications. And then the fourth point here is energy circulation. When you sink the chi, it doesn't just sink into your belly, it sinks into your legs. And through your legs, through your feet, into the earth. Your energy sinks into the earth, and now you're plugged into the earth. So then your energy mixes with the earth chi, and it starts to rise back up and fill you from below. Kind of like a boat in a pond that's starting to fill up with water. It floats. That's what it feels like internally when you really get this connection to the ground. You start to feel yourself inflating with this chi, this energy. And as it tends to collect in the lower dantian, when you're properly sinking the chi, when the dantian fills up, it starts to naturally circulate and overflow through the meridians of the body. You know, talking about the microcosmic orbit, an area of huge interest in sexual kung fu practice, it starts to naturally overflow through your microcosmic orbit when you do this practice. You don't have to like micromanage and circulate it with your mind. When you build a lot of chi through this type of practice, it's going to overflow and open those channels up. So you naturally create this harmonized energy circulation in your body. As you release tension, as you hold a good alignment in this practice, the energy goes where it needs to go and it rejuvenates you. It can clear emotional constrictions, stuck mental patterns, like old stories from the past, even like some traumatic patterns. This practice can help to clear from your body. It's amazing. And talking about energy circulation, this practice really opens up your meridian system so that during sex, instead of ejaculating everything out, you have space to hold more sensation, to hold more pleasure. Your body becomes a conduit for chi, for life force, when you train this practice. I truly feel that if a man practices Zhuang consistently and properly, premature ejaculation will never be an issue. Low libido, erectile dysfunction will never be an issue. That's been my experience. So again, that's why I say if there's one thing you're gonna do, just one thing, this is the practice to do because you get so much benefit. One last little point is that this is amazing for your health. In late 1800s, early 1900s, there lived a man named Wang Shangjai. Badass, one of the goats of internal energy arts, internal martial arts to be specific. This dude, he studied with some serious masters in China, and from what he learned about internal energy, he practiced an art called Chuan. This is a badass art where you use this accumulated internal energy to power your strikes so that you have this massive boom pressure behind what you're doing. So Wang Shangjai would challenge openly through a newspaper saying, hey, if anyone can defeat me in hand-to-hand combat, you will be my teacher. No one can defeat this guy. But Wang developed a system of postures and standing, which has become known as Zhan. That's where these practices come from. Now, really, this practice is ancient. It's likely been practiced for thousands of years, as it's a core of qigong training, because to be able to circulate chi properly, you have to be able to engage your body properly, and this is the foundation for it. In the 1990s, the Chinese government was becoming very interested in scientifically measuring the effects of qigong and seeing what the benefits were, because there was a time when, before it started cracking down on public gatherings around qigong practices, there was a time where there was hospitals that were fully treating people using qigong, and they were having miraculous success with chronic illness and all these things. Pretty interesting. But one thing they found was that when practitioners were doing Zhan, they found that 20 minutes of this practice oxygenated the body more efficiently than doing the same amount of time of intense cardiovascular exercise. I find that very interesting. All right, now I'm gonna give you a very simple demonstration, and we're gonna do this practice for about 5 minutes together. Okay, so find a space to stand, and it doesn't matter if it's inside, if it's outside, barefoot, shoes on, shoes off, it doesn't matter. You can still get grounded and connected to the earth chi with shoes on or off. It is nice to be barefoot on the earth, but I don't recommend doing that if the ground is cold, because it will actually drain your heat and your kidney chi, and you'll feel tired afterwards. Okay, so to find your foot width, put your feet together, flat together, and then open up your feet to make a 90-degree angle. Rotate on the big toe. Insides of the feet should be parallel together. That will be about a good width for your body. You can bring them slightly wider, a little bit narrow, but you don't want to be like, super horse stance width. And from here, first of all, just stand up straight. Lock your knees out for a moment. And you want to think of sinking into your posture, not just from bending the knees, but as if you were sitting on a stool. So you relax the lower back and think of sinking the tailbone down, releasing the spine, and sitting in your posture. So there's a bit of a bend in the knees. You can bend them a bit more, but your knees should never be further than the tips of your toes. If you go too far down, you can hurt your knees. So you find a nice a nice degree of sinking into your posture. It can either be a very slight bend in the knees or you can be further down. Now the spine should be nice and straight. And feel as though there's a hook, like a hook that's hooked into the back of your head, and it's hanging from the ceiling, and your head is hanging from that hook. So to start with, feel that hook, and you sink and release down away from that. So you relax your shoulders, your face, and then feel that your ribs are suspended in place and the waist is moving away. So it's this feeling of all the tissues in the body melting and releasing down into the feet. You feel your weight release into your feet. And the hands are relaxed at the sides. There's just a little bit of an inflated feeling, like the elbows are just slightly away from the body. You don't want to overdo this. People tend to do this where they bring their elbows out really far and get really tense in the shoulders. You want to really feel your shoulders relaxing and sinking down. And you want to feel like your lower back is really relaxing. Eventually moving towards a flat lower back, but don't push it down. Over time, you just want to think of relaxing this area more and more and more so the tailbone releases down. And that, again, will help you sink into your posture. So those are your basic alignments. So just continue holding that the best you can. The weight should be even between left and right foot, feeling the weight pretty evenly weighted throughout the feet. As far as the front, the back of the foot, ball of the foot, heel, left, right, should feel fairly even. Make sure your knees aren't caved in or caved out. Good alignment. If you have a mirror, you can look if one shoulder's dropped and the other one's raised. We often have all kinds of dysymmetries in the body, so practicing this properly can help to correct that. Now, you can stay where you're at. This is Wu Ji posture. Or if you want, you can just bring your palms to face your lower belly, just like you're holding a ball here. Just holding a little ball. Don't need to be way out here and raise the shoulders. When I show this position to people, they often overemphasize it. Just a very subtle. You just got this little ball in between your hands and your belly. And so what you do is you stand here is, first of all, the breathing. Smoothly breathing into the belly, feel it expand in all directions, smoothly breathing out of your belly. You don't want to have like a loud yoga-esque breathing. We want very gentle, quiet, smooth breathing. It should feel very effortless. And just try to even out your inhale and exhale. You can count your inhale, maybe count to 4, 5, 6, whatever is sustainable for you, and then exhale and try to even them out. And you can gradually work on lengthening the inhale and exhale. Just don't force it. And then while we're breathing, we just start to scan the body for any tension. We start at the crown of the head, and I just think, I'm melting the crown of my head. And I feel that relaxation spread. I melt the forehead. I melt the temples. Melting the back of the head, melting around the eyes, the eyebrows, the jaw, the throat. It's like you're made of wax, and you're starting to melt. Everything's just dripping, all the tension just dripping off your body. Relaxing, releasing through the shoulders, through the arms, upper arm, through the elbow, the forearm melting, wrist, fingers all melting. It's like there's wax dripping off your fingers. Releasing through the chest, upper back, the sides of the body. Let your diaphragm release as you're breathing. Releasing through the lower back. Melt it. Let the belly be totally relaxed and heavy like a bag of water. You think of releasing your head, tension from your face dropping, and like your heart is melting, sinking into your belly, so it gets heavier and more full. And then releasing into the pelvic floor. Relax the pelvic floor a bit more, the groin area. And even though you're standing on your legs and there's going to be some tension there, see if you can just relax a bit more, the upper thighs, the glutes and quadriceps. Just let it go just a little bit more. Like, I can just let a little bit of tension go there. Relax around the knees, the calves, ankles, release and melt, and the feet. Totally, same thing. Just see how much, a little bit extra tension you can let go in the feet. And the idea is that we let go of whatever tension in the body is absolutely not required for us to stand here. And that is a process. And then once you get down to the feet, you can start back at the head and do this over and over again, or you can just kind of tune into the body and notice, oh, where do I feel tense? Let me let that go just a bit more. And you'll notice, for example, if I lift up my shoulders, as I'm feeling my feet suddenly feel like there's less pressure on them. And then if I relax my shoulders, boom, the feet get heavier again. So just breathe. The mind is calm. Eyes can be open or closed. If your eyes are open, just find something to fix your eyes on and then relax the vision. Instead of feeling like you're staring at the object, you just have this relaxed peripheral vision. You're simply aware of your surroundings. You acknowledge any thoughts that arise and just let go of them. Relax your mind and body more and more. Focus on your breathing. Focus on releasing tension that it's probably going to keep coming back. So you keep scanning and releasing. And that's what you keep your mind occupied with, is your breath, nice smooth breathing, releasing tension. So you can continue practicing this as long as you want, or if you want, you can come out of it. So it's probably going to feel really difficult at first. To be standing and releasing deeply, fully releasing, as we're doing here, it's actually a lot of work. And you'll find that your legs and your feet may get very tired very quickly. It's pretty normal, especially when you're starting. And what I recommend that you do is add a bit more time to your stand. So maybe for the first week, maybe start with 3 minutes. 3 minutes a day doing this. Build to 5 minutes, then 7 minutes, 10 minutes. Week by week, you can add a bit more time. I think that 10 to 15 minutes a day of this is solid. Of course, if you do 20 or 30 minutes, that's fantastic, but you'll get very strong benefit doing this for 10 or 15 minutes a day. So that is the power standing that will really develop your sexual libido and your sexual power and just your overall health and energy levels in general. So if you enjoy this practice and if you'd like me to make a longer guided practice video of this power standing, let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to do that for you guys if you're interested in it. And if you enjoy this type of practice, I highly recommend going through my sexual energy boosting qigong routine, which is a moving form that will help you build your kidney energy, your sexual energy, and overall vitality. So I'll put a link to that video. Go ahead and do that next. Please give this video a like if you enjoyed it. Share it with a friend who really needs to calm their mind and build some vitality. And take care out there, my friends.